All right, like most people my age, I played video games as a kid. Only difference is I never stopped. I played Dota in college, I played World of Warcraft in med school, and I've played a bunch of Steam games since. So 5 years ago, when my son wanted to play Minecraft, I was like, all right, cool, video games together. I'd obviously heard of Minecraft, but never actually played it. So I started playing with him to understand the game. And, not really because I love Minecraft and things, but I became an expert because I want to understand the things my kid loves. So I'm making this video not as parenting advice. I don't think anyone has the moral high ground here. Least of all me. I'm playing Diablo with my 10-year-old son, which is a mature game. But this is just how I navigate the online gaming world with my kids. And hopefully there's something you can take back here to yours. All right, so I wanted to kind of share how I evaluate games. So when parents evaluate games, they look at the content. Is there blood? Are there guns? Is it scary? So there's actually that ESRB rating on the box, which measures those things. But that part's fairly straightforward, which is not what I'm focused on here. I think the deeper thing to look for is the communication. Now everything's online, so who will my kid be talking to while playing this game? Can strangers message them? Is there voice chat? Can anyone send them a friend request? That kind of stuff is where the risk lives today. It's not in the pixels, it's in the people. So I kind of look at evaluating games on two axes, right? So first, what's in the game, and then who can reach my kid through the game. And it's really not easy to judge because these two things have almost nothing to do with each other, right? Like a game can look terrifying and be completely locked down and safe communication-wise. Also, a game can look like digital Legos and be a wide open social network where players can talk openly to strangers. So for example, I allow my 10-year-old son to play Diablo 3, which is a 17 plus mature rated game about literally slaying hordes of demons, blood and gore, all that stuff. But surprisingly, it's one of the safest games to play online when done properly. So sure, the game's almost 15 years old, which means there's not as many people playing online, but I really understand the way multiplayer works. 15 years, I mean, I was a beta tester for that game way back in the day. But, now we play private games. It's just me and him. And sometimes my friends, like I know Uncle Vinny jumped in and played with him this week. So it's really, the players who are playing. So it's kids we know, families I know, and no one else can get in. Demons aren't a threat for him. On the other hand, games that look kid-friendly are usually looking kid-friendly because they're built for kids. They're very social. They're built for kids to talk to each other. But anything that's built for kids to talk to each other, also by definition, is a place where anyone can talk to kids, right? So, judge these on a case-by-case basis. I think not all scary-looking games are safe, and not all kiddie-looking games are dangerous. So for all games for my son, his friends list is only his real-life friends from school or whatever, family friends, plus my gamer friends who I've personally vetted. A lot of them have known him since he was born, and I've known them for decades, right? So yeah, I think those are some basics. Then I wanted to get into the part that's brought up the most to me by other parents, which is Roblox. Last year, there was a massive viral expose about child predators on the platform. There's a bunch of lawsuits. If you want the full story, I think other channels have covered it in depth. I'm not going to get into it here. But people ask me about Roblox like, oh yeah, like I heard it was bad, but they fixed it, right? Or I just heard it was bad, they didn't hear it. They was fixed, whatever. But so I think it's gotten better, yes, but fixed is not really how any of this works. So just a quick aside, I think Roblox to me isn't really like a singular game. Roblox is like a platform that happens to contain games, like millions of games, right? And there's chat running through everything. It's got over 100 million daily users, and half of them are under 16. So you could see, people who are looking for a place with a bunch of kids, they found it. But, after all this backlash, Roblox did overhaul safety. They added a bunch of like facial age checks to use chat tiered accounts, and all those protections are there. I don't know what kind of kid you were, but when I was a kid and wanted to be somewhere online I wasn't supposed to be, I could definitely get there. So no system is foolproof. I think that's goes without saying. But yeah, they have added a bunch of new stuff to Roblox. But I would say for maybe 10 minutes this week, at least learn what games your kid is playing, the names of the games. Then after that, you can open your kid's account. I don't think it's snooping. You can just open their account to learn. Don't leave any of the games they're playing on autopilot, and don't be clueless like my parents were. and call everything Nintendo for 2 decades, when I'm playing PS3. But yeah, I think, times have changed, and yeah, it's time to get a little bit more involved. All right, now to talk about the part nobody enjoys talking about, but the biggest concern for parents, which is these online predators. So I think when parents imagine an online predator, they imagine maybe a stranger being creepy in chat, and maybe might tell their kids to look out for that. But what it actually looks like is a new friend, someone who plays the same games, knows the same slang, right, the in-game terminology, and they might be more patient, more complimentary, and even more available than anyone your kid knows in real life. So this pattern's almost always the same. It starts with attention, makes your kid feel uniquely seen. Then it becomes special. And they'll say things like, you're more mature than other kids. I know that my kids are always fighting over who's a baby and who's not a baby. So being mature is a big deal. And then a lot of times it comes with like a boyfriend or girlfriend label. And this predates the move either off the game to a different platform or something private. And somewhere in there, they'll ask for like secrecy, like your parents won't get it. Don't tell your parents. So I think that's the real big tell. Like there's never any adult with good intentions who's going to ask kids to keep secrets from their parents ever, whether it's online, at school, in the real world. So, like there's no innocent version of that sentence. So, and I'm not saying this is a hypothetical. This has actually reached my own community here in Austin. A very similar thing happened to some kids in a family that we know. So it's not rare. It's happening in ordinary schools, ordinary games. So I have kind of two things to go over, like what can you do? So number one is the rule I already kind of covered, which is the friends list. So curate that friends list. I keep it to people we know in real life, or like people I know in real life, who my kid knows in real life. So this single rule really breaks the entire pattern at step one. There's no new friends getting in the door. And I think that's a really important one. I guess depending on who your friends are, right? But and then second, really the one that matters the most is make sure that you're the parent that your kids will tell stuff to. There's no perfect filter. There's no way to make perfect rules, especially like determined teenagers and tweens. And the kids who are getting hurt the worst are the ones who are too scared of getting in trouble to say something. So if your kid comes to you with something weird from the internet and your response is like take the game away or something, then they're not going to tell you again, right? So I think the goal isn't surveillance. In this part, it's really to be safe. The parent is someone safe they can talk to. And the last thing I want to mention, it's not a game, but I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't mention it, which is YouTube Kids. Lots of parents think that they can just install this app and kind of close their eyes, like the app is automatically safe for kids. Unfortunately, no. There's actually a whole genre of people uploading content that looks like the kids stuff, like the real stuff, like bright colors. It looks like Peppa Pig, and then suddenly this fake Peppa Pig is like murdering people with like red eyes, scary music. I believe it's called Elsa Gate if you want to look into this thing, but I wouldn't bother with it. But really the problem with YouTube Kids here is scale, right? So YouTube keeps getting better and better at moderating and catching these, but at the same time, uploaders keep adapting and the race keeps escalating in a never-ending fashion. So my solution for this, so if you have younger kids especially, YouTube Kids has a setting you can restrict to only channels you've approved. Of course, that takes some work for you to approve some channels, but you should turn off autoplay and sometimes just watch with them. So not to inspect for issues, like you're not like a detective, but you could find some shows like Bluey that are genuinely fun. And also this is how you find out what they're into, which I think is kind of the whole strategy of this video. So, to wrap up, you don't really need to become a gamer like me. You don't need to memorize every app or lock down every setting perfectly. You'll miss some, I miss some. But what actually works is way simpler, and it's the thing I've been doing this whole video without calling it out. I play the games, I know the names, I watch the shows, I'm into their hobbies and interests with them, especially on this online thing, right? It might be a little bit awkward for you, but it's not as a spy. I think it's when you're in it with your kids. Three things happen automatically. So you understand how the thing actually works, the chat, the friends list, who can reach them. Number two, your kid knows you're not clueless. So when something feels off, you're the person they come to. And three, you actually get to spend time with them, doing something that they love. before they hit the age where they'd rather you didn't. So that last one's going to sneak up on you. So the window where your kid wants to play Minecraft with you isn't very wide. I'm using mine right now. We're playing Diablo 3. Yeah, these are golden years, regardless of if you're, playing soccer in the backyard. Sometimes you'll be playing video games online. So, all right, hopefully this was helpful. So go learn what your kids are playing, and I'll see you in the next one.